already, the later the game goes without a snowball,
We are on.
Should go Buffalo, and these are not the right sides. I'm just realizing.
Even hours right now in the VCS. Oh. Okay, the question is, are they going to stay through the red buff, or are they going to walk back through the tri-brush? Because if they walk back through the tri-brush to try to get back to main lane,
no.
This might be disaster for Cerberus. 4 members.
Pon has left, so now it's a 5v4.
Okay, this is wild. Okay, Yato's now leaving. Could be the late collapse coming through from Saigon Buffalo if they really wanted to, and they turn the corner. They're not going to see it coming. Hello. I don't know if they caught them on the way in or not. No way they're just going to leave 5 here, right? Oh, what if they show on bot lane with 3? There is no way. There's no way! Nobby! Nobby! No! No!
You can't!
No way! Okay, this wasn't as devastating as I thought it was going to be. I thought they were going to pull multiple kills right here, but it just is not going to happen. You can't do that. Saigon Buffalo, what in the world? Okay, now, okay, we're criminals. Everybody in this game is currently a criminal right now. As Yato also has a potential. They're going after Guri, and Guri is just left on his lonesome. Has no flash, doesn't have Q. Oh, okay. Flash coming in from Drakthar. He's going to get a kill to return. That, for what it was, should have been so much more devastating for Saigon Buffalo, and it just did absolutely nothing. Equal in kills. First blood, I suppose, going over to the Sejuani, but now going to be way down in the clearing to Drakthar, who's going to be able to start off counter-jungling 2 full camps. What in the world was that start?
What? Where was the wood? How did they know?
I don't know.
How did they know that was
That's what's insane. I have no clue. They have no reason to have thought this. I feel like they should have been more patient and waited for them to get closer to the tri-brush, because then you can't flash over. You have to walk backwards to flash over, and they just didn't. I don't know why they didn't. I feel like they could have been more patient. Then Guri, what is Guri doing? Like, what like, why does he go that way? There's no one on the bottom side of the map.
By the way, Taki died.
Taki died. Don't know how that happened. It looks like Artemis also was shoved back out of lane somehow. Shogun's at level 3.
Died.
Artemis might have died, and that might have been the trade, was that Taki was able to drop the Ignite and actually find that kill. And so Shogun just casually level 3, probably like 0 CS on Artemis right now. This is an insane early game.
Yeah, so, alright, we're gonna actually finally see it. And,
I love Taki, man. I love Taki, man. He's just flashing, auto-trading, gets a kill for Shogun. And then just auto-traded back down the opposite. Again, I don't know that Artemis even has a single CS as of that play right there. It's going wild to me.
No, okay, yeah, that's gonna be a huge lead. It's a huge lead for Shogun.
Yes.
Taki does not have
Show me the scoreboard. Okay, there we go.
Okay, there we go. 10 CS as of now. So Taki is now vulnerable. If Yato or Drakthar go down to that bot lane, they can probably kill the Lux quite happily. Shogun, however, is living the dream. He's got quite a bit of a lead with that kill, and he's going to get caught up on CS, but man, this is just...
Things might calm down from here, because there's not quite as much action to be had across the map. Which is why I get to talk about now that this is my favorite brand of mid laner, Mobby. I love mid laners that are incredibly safe, have map impact, and build the D-mats to start with. Just the wave control. So like Twisted Fate's the #1, but Ahri can do it. You got a bunch of other champions that kind of do it too. Anybody who would reasonably take Unsealed Spellbook, that's my type of mid laner. Except Galio. I hate Galio with a fervent passion, but that does not matter. Anyway. That's why I love Twisted Fate coming back, and this is the most popular kind of pal path. It is going to be Rod of Ages, likely directly into Rapid Fire or Lichbane, one of the two, and then Rabadon's is a common follow-up, so eventually the damage really does ramp up for this specific build path. And action towards bottom lane is what we're looking for from Yato. Already has that advantage over top of Froggy, already has burnt some of the D-mats to make sure that the wave control is in his favor, and has a pretty decent jump in terms of experience over top of other members of the team to allow himself and Drakthar to try to recapture control of this bottom lane. How did he know? He just threw a blind... He lasered Drakthar's position right there with that Q. How in the world does he know?
This Taki guy kind of good. Check him computer.
Kind of cracked, man. Kind of cracked.
Yeah, check him computer. That's all I can really say, because he just read Drakthar. Between knowing that they were going into that red buff steal, and then that laser, that's insane. And now, yeah, huge lead for the side of SGB. They can just keep pressuring Artemis back away from experience. He's getting so little. Shogun's level 5. It's pretty much just your only real win right now is, I mean, you're winning the mid jungle. That's going out okay. It's
at
not
top. At top.
It's
Pun's winning.
Yeah, okay.
Pun's up 6 CS. He has no threat of dying anytime soon.
He's also
There's
a
no flash on
so
Hotline.
it doesn't matter.
Okay. Disrespect Scion. Scion's got 86% win rate in this league. Did you know that? Scion is the best win condition this league has.
I can't believe Hasmet has dragged it down to 86.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's the only person that's lost on it, which is unfortunate. Feels bad, man.
Yeah,
okay, Drakthar wants some smoke against Guri Sejuani, and he definitely knows Guri is here. There is absolutely no question. As bottom lane, Ron OP is going to get gunned down. Shogun has the lethal tempo ramped up. I feel like he should have stepped up into the pocket to the right there and continued auto-attacking Artemis to deny him the wave, but not going to be the case. Instead, he'll just hold the wave probably in place, wait for Taki to come back. Taki's kind of jumping on the grenade this game. He gave a kill over to Ron OP in exchange for another kill on a Shogun, which means that advantage over top of Artemis just continues to get bigger and bigger. And this was it.
Yeah, this is a nice.
Okay, I mean,
like it's a good play, sort of set up by Ron P. Unfortunately, he's the one who gets the kill.
Yeah.
You really want the kills to land onto Artemis to try and catch him back up, but because right now, yeah, as I said, if you can get the Artemis rolling, no, not gonna happen.
Dang.
If you get Artemis rolling and early onto those quick blades, you can outpace Guri and Hasmed, and then your single damage threat. Sort of, it kind of you only need that. You only need that single damage threat from Artemis. But he's not getting ahead. Shogun definitely is, and if Shogun's outpacing you, well, that Caitlyn is going to be so much more useful.
Yes.
As time goes on.
Not to mention, I mean, you think about Caitlyn being able to move around the map, and you throw her into top lane. Now you're playing against Scion. Scion's not stopping turret play taking. So if you lose bottom tower and you end up getting it cracked away, they're right now kind of on the way to 3 turret plays. Is that Shogun with Demolish? That's so mean. That's such a menacing thing. That's a play on a Shogun underneath the bottom tower. Thankfully, he didn't take aggro, and actually a decent play from Froggy. Gets a lot of damage returned as Ron OP just barely doesn't die. Artemis does go down to Froggy, and that TP from Yato was so far back they couldn't actually infringe upon the territory of Saigon right there. So even though it was a 4-for-4, nearly 2 kills going to Saigon and an additional play going on to Caitlyn for basically nothing, as they're able to kind of scrap out that fight really effectively.
Yeah, I was saying Yato needed to be first, but it was Froggy in place. Drakthar thought that they could delay long enough for him to take that Gromp, but he couldn't. And that meant that 4 were there. I didn't even notice Guri coming up through the lane, but you just ended up with 4 diving the 2 because Yato and Drakthar were just not in position to actually respond, despite the sort of false security that they were sort of saying to Artemis, no, we're nearby, but you're on Gromp. Yato is still too far away to actually teleport in. The play is over before Yato arrives, and Artemis falls down trying to make a play with the Featherstorm. It doesn't come together.
No, it doesn't. And again, 1 auto short of another kill going on to Ron OP, which would have been disastrous, as that would have been both bot laners being taken out of the play, additional 2 kills. It is a very, very fun, healthy lead that has come through here now on the bottom side for Shogun, who has more kills and more CS over top of Artemis as the primary damage dealer. I don't know that they can rely on Yato to do that they need him to in order to kind of salvage this early mid game, unless they really get like Rod of Ages is going to slow this down only on Rapid Fire Cannon and Lichbane. Is that Twisted Fate really going to start to hurt with some of the auto attacks? Man, Pun is just not letting Shogun live here. He didn't even hit him. He was just a menace standing forward trying to get something. As Rift Herald engaged upon. There is a Taki here, but that is about it. Guri is actually on bottom side, making sure that Pun is not going to be able to do anything into Shogun, as it's going to be Rift Herald traded over for just additional pushing power on bottom lane. If they deliver an additional solo plate, I think you're perfectly fine with that if you're on the side of Saigon Buffalo. But so far, this is just a free Rift Herald.
And I mean, look, you even see Froggy. It's now Froggy's turn to help Shogun out, because without anyone else nearby, Pun can just walk at you.
Dive top. Dive top,
Gotcha.
something, no TP, nothing yet. Drakthar instead just onto that immediately.
Woo.
That is a Saigon kill in the bottom lane somehow, as that's going to be a big ultimate from Guri to try to get something. Hosmed with a mean jump in is going to be able to tie that up, and now Artemis, he's just going to get run down. He's got no defensive summoners. He's got nothing to be able to prevent this. That's going to be the ultimate popped out, but it's not going to do anything, as it's not. That's going to be 2 kills to Hosmed as they thwart the top side play. I wanted Yado to TP. I wanted them to full commit. They don't do it. Instead, they don't get no movement from mid lane. They get a bot lane kill because of the play from Froggy. Hun saw this. He had a ward up. He knew what was happening right there. And even still, with all of that, Shogun's able to walk away with a really big kill on the bottom side, probably an additional plate, if not 2. And then the top side play where Renekton pulls 2 in exchange for what? A plate and a half on Yado. It's not worth it. Make the dive top happen.
So the problem is, Yado couldn't join. He can't teleport. It's still 11 minutes. His ultimate was on cooldown. He couldn't join. And
I forgot teleport isn't good anymore. My bad.
Yeah, and because Drakthar was kind of faffing around on the Grom for a little while before they decided to commit to that, it kind of just said, okay, Guri now has time to pivot and try and be there to make the counter dive. He did. As we play a little fun, we have a little fun with Vision.
Oh my goodness.
But it's just Cerberus trying to get something back, but they didn't have their cooldowns right. They weren't truly decisive enough to actually work for it. And Froggy has just been the one making moves, making plays. Yado has not been effective on this Twisted Fate. He's 0-0-0.
Yes. I think the funniest thing about this situation is that, like, if I'm Yado, I'm like, okay, I'm not rolling that much, but I am currently up 30 CS. That has to mean something, right? And Froggy's like, I'm down 5 CS in lane, better just sack every lane and go attacking everywhere else, like old school Froggy used to when he was on, like, Galio way back in the day, which was a style that, again, I feel like is unique to Froggy alone. He's the only person I've ever seen that's just like, I'll just dump 3 waves mid lane just so I can make sure that I'm down on bot side to go fight, because he's a great skirmisher and everything else. Drakthar gets dropped to 0 health as Guri is able to kind of clean that one up. The defense of the mid lane turret is going to get some gold for Drakthar and no one else because they weren't able to be in range for that one. So it is 2 plates over to Drakthar, but that's it. There is nothing else to be had. It looks like a Hextech solo is going to be in the pockets of Saigon Buffalo here any second now as they're able to clean that one up. No hook is going to land. Now Rano, he actually gets rooted up. That's a really solid play despite some of the plays come through. And now are we fighting? Shogun kind of wants the smoke right now as he's going to look to try and fight against Yado into that ward. They're going to push up. They're not going to get much in mid lane. Instead, he's just going to be the dragon.
At this point, Ron has to go over Frost, given he's stolen 3 kills now. He has to be the guy. He's got all the gold. He has to put it to use. I'm sorry. Just... Come on. At least he
pretty ridiculous.
It's an okay attempt here. Like, you blow the...
Taki is so mean, man. Like, look at that. He dodged the hook in the midst of all of it through an ultimate. This is what I was confused about, because Taki lands this, and then how is it that Froggy got punished? Was it like a flash, like, auto? Yeah, I think it was a stun card from Yado. Did he fight? Yeah, that's what it was. And then the Everfrost came out. Okay, Yado's a little bit of a trickster. He's a guy. He's funny.
You saw at the start of the play the gold card to force the cleanse as well, so he didn't have it available for that second engage, which, it gets that kill. Unfortunately, it goes onto the Blitzcrank, but it is much needed goal for the side of Cerberus. They're keeping it relatively close at just under 2k rather, but it's still just where the gold kind of is. There's a lot of it on the Blitzcrank compared to, well, it's a fed Caitlyn. It's now a pretty fed Crocodile. It's a decently fed, pretty much everybody except Lux. And Lux is doing okay for herself with assists. So that's not what
it's Guardian. It's a Guardian Lux, and also I think it's very likely that it's going to end up being Imperial Mandate Lux too, which I'm a very, very big fan of, because 1E across the team literally just drops like 800 free damage for nothing, which is kind of awesome, and it means that you don't have to have any expensive itemization. There's no Ludens in that, there's no Everfrost in that you have to dump. Instead, it's a relatively cheap support item cost that you can just continue into the rest of your build and not worry about too heavily, which again, I'm a big fan of. I think that's great. I think that's what Taki's going to go for in a game like this. As I'm a little surprised that Shogun and Taki haven't been able to make a way to topside yet. You could have easily thrown Hosmed in the mid lane to try to hold back Artemis. Maybe they're just trying to deny Artemis any access to plates instead, so they're just like, okay, you match our bot lane in mid lane, or we're going to push down mid lane with our Caitlyn. and that's locking Artemis in a bit of a box where it's like, yes, he's able to farm consistently, but he's not able to over-farm by any standard, not able to find any freestanding gold, and it's preventing their damage dealer from doing anything. That is to say, if Froggy doesn't just kill him.
Yeah, Froggy gonna make an attempt. It forces the Featherstorm, but nothing else. No clans, no flash. And with that, Artemis is, he hasn't been able to really pick up any plates at all. The Rift Herald was a bit of a disaster as everything went to Drakthar and Drakthar was dead. But so Artemis has been able to pick up his Gale Force pretty okay. He has the free boot, so he gets to catch up some gold. Hasmed shouldn't be able to kill Pun, but maybe if they
that
leave
is
it long enough.
That is the one thing that will probably cause strife in the mid game here for Saigon Buffalo, is that there has been nothing to slow down Pun. Pun is really strong on second item, will likely be very difficult to get through, even for Caitlyn, because Caitlyn's power trough comes in that area. And maybe that's why Cerberus, I think, is trying to goad out a bit of a fight. Did Guri steal that? No, he didn't. Okay, he's not able to get anything. Sion is going to be denied. He's going to try to push Shogun back. He's actually getting absolutely dumpstered by this damage, and Pun, thinking that he had a lot more health, I thought he was going to be a lot tankier than that as well. Now Drakthar gets caught up. That's just the clone, though, as they're going to walk away. Rift Herald for 1 kill shutdown. But now, I mean, Saigon Buffalo can kind of keep them away from mid tower, and honestly, this might be sufficient for them to find more. Drakthar gets caught up by a charm. They're going to try to come back for the defense of the mid tower. They are going to be able to get back for that. Ultimate's going to get dropped to make sure there's no backs to come through, as Yato's just going to clear the wave. Cerberus in a little bit of disarray right now. Another wave collapsing. Feels like it's threatening enough to keep everybody on the map.
And now Froggy just wants a little bit more. He's gonna land it.
That was really, really good. And Rano P is just gonna die. Insane. That was an insane combo because it was Everfrost into Charm, into Trap, and then also Shogun in the midst of all of that without popping Gale Force, dodges a hook to find a crit shot, and then ends up getting the kill. Really, really well played by Saigon. Execution's on point today.
Yeah, I mean, we're just seeing how good this composition from Saigon Buffalo is. If one bit of CC lands, the rest will follow. That's like Pun is tanky. In all fairness, he is pretty tanky, but he also didn't get to play the game. As this is the second part of the play. And
oh wait, that wasn't a hook. That was the orb coming back. Never mind. Never mind. Rano P just didn't throw a hook there.
Never mind. Shogun actually confirmed bad.
Shogun terrible.
That's
my
the
bad.
takeaway.
Caster bias. Caster bias. Yeah, Shogun terrible. I'm hyping him unnecessarily. Eddie's the best ADC in the league.
Yeah, of course. Well, now that's gonna drop and probably get the charge, and that will that will give Cerberus potential to maybe push in that mid lane, try and set up deep vision, and go for more picks with Ron and Yano. They really need to put something together. Taki has decided to do the standard only there is only one item for supports in the game. Good flash. Those mech treads coming in handy. But that's decent damage. Here's the gauge.
Oh, Everfrost's not going to get him. Q comes through. I think Froggy doesn't have any more ult charges as Guri tries to run after him as well. That's going to force out Artemis. Artemis, out of complete fairness, any other ADC would have had to burn at least a summoner by now. And Artemis has not dropped a summoner for like the last 10 minutes of this game. Has only used the ultimate to get out of dodge, which is like, that's miraculous to me. I don't know how. I know Gale Force has also been used, but the fact that no Flash or Cleanse has been drawn out of this player for like 5 to 10 minutes of game speaks to the level that Artemis can play at. But again, the issue is that he's locked in mid lane. There's no additional gold there. Yes, you're picking up minions. You're probably matched. It's like 35, 40 minions. That has been the advantage for Shogun in terms of farm, and that hasn't risen in the last 10 minutes of the game. Does not matter, because there's no extra gold. The Artemis is not catching up at all. Even if they're on the exact same pace, which is not the case at all, even if they were on the exact same pace, there'd be no advantage for Artemis that's growing at any point. So they're doing a good job of denying Cerberus' win condition, collecting some of the neutral objectives on the map, and slowly just ramping up this Caitlyn to be a monster.
Yeah, and we're definitely hitting the point of where the no damage is sort of shining through from Cerberus. We have a rapid fire cannon coming in from Yato. That's not really going to be damage at all.
Won't it?
No, it won't. It's not a damage item. I'm afraid to say. And Artemis is extremely delayed on his quick blades. And if you look at the other side, Guri has his Radiant Virtue. He has actually built tanky. He hasn't gone for the Warmogs. Hasmed is a little bit off on his Gore Drinker, but once that's in, he will be pretty tanky himself. And that's just not really an angle for Cerberus to cut through them unless they catch them way out of position with a hook or something. But SGB, other than Hasmed, SGB are just sort of grouping up as a 4-stack and not letting anybody come near them or set up any angle to pick them off.
Unique. Oh, actually, ultimate comes through. It's going to burn the cleanse of Yado. Unique sharpshooter. When fully energized, your next attack deals 120 bonus attack magic damage.
That's not real damage.
I bet you feel ridiculous.
That's not real damage.
You feel ridiculous right now.
I can't believe you'd read a tooltip at me. I'm so betrayed.
It absolutely tooltipped upon. Yes. Yeah, it's not much damage. It's some attack speed, which does help with the passive procs. Drakthar is currently walking into his death right now. Oh, actually, they walked out of that brush, which is unfortunate because they could have caught a Drakthar for basically free. But it's not going to matter. Froggy is in the try brush. You could catch Drakthar if he died. Wow, Drakthar just pulled like 3 wards with this one sweeper. That was some value he got out of that sweeper as he's able to clean out all of this jungle, and they should be able to have an approach over to the Baron if necessary. Froggy sneaking his way through, finding a little pizzazz angle here, potentially on Artemis. Artemis just took a ridiculous amount of damage. I think it was just Taki that hit him right there. Ooh, over the wall, blocked. Does Ron P. That hook went into absolutely nowhere, as that's not going to be anything. There are 4 members here, though. I think it was a TP and an ultimate from Yado forced out, just so that they don't lose mid-tower. Man, Cerberus is holding on for dear life at this point.
Man, it was really nice of Cerberus to let a blind person play support for them, because there was nobody even close to that hook. It's just gone by feeling, I guess. I don't even think, like, that was out of a prediction for flash range.
Absolute flick on Ayato is going to get a flash and nothing else.
Yeah, that's just a flash, but yeah, that is like the second or third hook Ron has just thrown completely into Nana.
Random opposite direction, yeah.
He's looking for lions. That's all I can say. But he wants to be finding buffaloes. That's what he should be doing.
Yeah, there's a saying in American football where there's I don't know how else to say this. Basically, there's somebody trying to catch the ball and there's somebody trying to defend them from catching the ball. And when a receiver drops it, it's called hearing footsteps. It's when you think you're going to get hit as soon as the ball gets into your hands. And it feels like that's been Ron OP's syndrome. Is like he gets rooted, he gets stuck in place, he feels like he's going to die. And so he's just random tossing abilities to try to see if he can hit something. And hearing footsteps, if you will, is my analogy I'm trying to make. I know it's not going to make sense to a lot of people, but anybody who understands, understands. So I'll take those people. Feel free to shout out in the chat if you understood that reference.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I look at Gridiron and repeatedly go, this makes no sense.
Gridiron.
As pun, that's a name for American football.
Yeah, Gridiron's also the name of a Rocket League game mode that's based on American football. So I thought that's what you were referencing, and I was about to get into a deep conversation about Gridiron, but
no, I only know basic Rocket League where it's the football but the soccer edition.
Man, we love having multiple nationalities on broadcast. Makes talking about sports super easy. Oh, wow. Okay, Guri was just kind of chilling there. Is Rano P finally able to... Oh, wait, that wasn't Rano P. That was, in fact, Hosbed, who was chilling there on the Renekton looking for something. Maybe. Now they're going to walk forward. Ayato has a potential for a gold card. Is going to be able to get Guri knocked up in the midst of everything. Pun's going to take that ultimate from Shogun. Because that's going to be a decent charm thrown by Froggy. Not able to tag anybody, but the damage on the way back is going to do plenty. Flash onto the gold card. Is going to catch up Froggy, who's going to be stuck in place. Has to go into Zonias, as there's no entrance for Shogun and Taki, as that's a lot of the damage that just is not able to access the fight at all. Cerberus finally finds a bit of Requiem in the midst of all of this, and now it's going to run at Baron, try to make something happen.
Yeah, they managed to find that angle on them, and the run down CC is really great from Cerberus. The constant gold cards, the constant hooks, and the follow-up from Pun when either of those land, it's really strong to turn one pick into multiple. They're not going to be able to do the Baron.
They never even brought Shogun over here. Shogun isn't like taking it down. He just doesn't care. They're so terrified of everybody else. It just didn't matter. Yeah, okay, so it was Hosbed getting knocked out. He wasn't just chilling. It was Pun catching him with a Q out of nowhere.
Yeah, and then from here, it's just kind of Yado just constantly running them down further and further. They find the pick on the catch on the Guri, but this one is what really does it. Froggy goes back in, and then Yado has the rapid fire cannon. And that will actually get Froggy. The flash isn't enough to get him away from Pun, but the extended range brings Froggy to his death. There is enough damage brought back onto them that, any resistance to that Baron, and they buckled, which they did. And so it was just a free mid lane tower and a free dragon off the back of the team fight that Buffalo lost.
Yeah, it's kind of wild to think about. Cerberus able to dig themselves back to 1.5k gold deficit, which isn't crazy. The problem is, again, they don't have damage. They're starting to get closer. That is Lichbane. It is strange to me that he went the 2 components that don't give auto attacking damage, because you could have gone a Sheen, but you decided against it, which I guess for ability usage, it makes a little bit more sense to have the AP as opposed to just the 1 auto attack damage if he wants the Qs to hit a little bit harder, which salvages a mild amount of AoE kind of damage inside of team fights, maybe multi-target DPS that wouldn't normally be there. And given the fact that they're scrapped for that at the moment, I'll give a bit of props, a bit of a hat nod. Although it doesn't matter because Lichbane just got finished after 1 more back, so it didn't end up coming into play in the slightest anyway. But with Lord Doms and Black Cleaver done, like, I don't even think that Pun is really in a safe space against Shogun now. So it is just for Saigon Buffalo about being able to set up some sort of line for Shogun to just start attacking people.
Yeah, you're kind of stuck in that situation. You kind of need to kill Shogun because he's super fed, but even then, and he will melt through Pun. But even then, Pun is kind of indexed entirely into armor. So if it's just Ari is still going to be doing a lot of damage. Artemis is slowly catching up though. Has his own Last Whisper, so should be okay at cutting through Guri with what armor they have, and Cosmet as well.
Okay, CC to death is Pun, as over top the wall goes just the 1 member, as pulled is Guri. Guri's going to be able to get out. Radiant Virtue's going to be able to heal up the team just a little bit, as Froggy's going to be looking for something. Finds a nice charm on Yato, but there is no follow-up, as Shogun is still in the river. Nobody is able to really accomplish all that much. Taki gets caught up with a gold card. That's going to be Artemis getting forward, finding a kill in the midst of all of this. Again, this issue is that it feels like Saigon Buffalo's got this insane engage range, and Shogun's just not able to follow them. And so because of that, Shogun is not able to put out the damage that is necessary. They're going to walk at Baron. I don't think they take this. I don't think they're actually finding an opportunity to make this happen unless they really, really get a good play on a Shogun. As now approaching, here comes the team. Halfway down is the Baron buff. Pun's holding the corner. Shogun's going to be able to auto-attack into it. Hosmet's going to go into Zonia's. Froggy now is going to throw some abilities in. Everfrost, that's going to be a very dead Renekton. As Pun is going to get dropped, Shogun back over top of the wall. That is the tank down. They need some kind of extra damage. Yato doesn't have the range to actually hit Shogun right there, as that's going to be a gold card. Not enough range actually to find Shogun either, as that's both Yato and Artemis' kids basically down. Artemis is going to take the ultimate. The Baron buff is down. Now it's a question of whether they can clean everything else. I think they just killed 1. Now they need everything else. Artemis, he's alive. Draktar's barely alive as well. Shogun wants more smoke, I think, than anything else right now. Is looking. TP is going to try to find a Froggy. You teleported like... Guys, they're throwing random abilities out in the middle of nowhere. They're seeing shadows right now on the map as they're trying to find where everybody left to, but they're not able to clean on the backside. Shogun works through so much damage, but it does not matter as the Baron buff gets taken by Cerberus, the gold lead eviscerated.
It started off okay, and we see here, like, they grab the pick on the Hosman, but the stopwatch buys a lot of time. And even once they kill Hosman, then there's the sort of indecision at this point. They're not sure if they want to go back onto Shogun, try and do a return and try and get something back, or just commit for the Baron. They should have just used the time the zombie clone bought for them and just killed that Baron. In the end, they do get it, but they trade so many kills for it. They're gonna have to put in some serious work to try and get it back. It's kind of gone onto the wrong people too. Like, you didn't get any onto either of the side lanes, so you can't play and split the map with it.
So I think how I'm looking at this diagnostics right now is that Drakthar needs to be there when Yato hits a gold card against Shogun, because if that doesn't happen, they don't have a way to actually challenge Shogun at all. That's going to be an ultimate from Yato, and Pun's ultimate is well burnt. They are trying to find some kind of engagement into Guri. That was a bit of a strange play, but they're not going to find any pay dirt for it, so just going to walk away as well. Again, it's just slowly Shogun is now on 4 items quietly in this game. He's like an item and a half ahead of Artemis and ahead of basically everybody in the entire game right now. Half an item over top of Yato. Froggy also split pushing, slowly becoming a bit more of a beast on this Ari pick, making things a little bit easier to work with.
Yeah, I think what the goal of that was to buy the space for this dragon, to try and stop the soul. They went a little early, and in the end, they trade a tower for it. So this Baron buff not really getting them any gold that they really wanted. in the end plus 180. That's if they can try and get one tower maybe, and that'll help them out. But it does buy them 5 minutes from no soul. It lets them perhaps get to a point. Maybe we go to another 50-minute game where the gold doesn't matter anymore.
Oh my goodness!
And at that point, then hey, maybe Artemis can actually do something. But we're getting to second items onto Guri. It's just getting harder and harder to cut through. And Hasmed slowly building up that GA, just wants to try and pop Artemis because again, it's all on Artemis.
Yeah, you have to think also that if Hasmed gets enough damage, then maybe even like an empowered W could shred through Yado, which is another big threat that hasn't really been dealt with all that often from Saigon Buffalo. They got that one kill in the last fight, but that was about it. Ultimate was dropped onto Yado to try to catch him to some extent. That's a teleport too. Wow, they are really baking into this play, trying to find something to happen. Hasmed TP's in. Guri loses half the health bar with the Radiant Virtue, and the take of the camp shouldn't be that bad.
Froggy!
Actually finds an insane play! How in the world did he just find Artemis? Artemis is sitting on the red buff. Now they're going to find more. They're going to get a trap up on a Pun. Pun has to flash out the back of the fight. Just go up top lane, cut them off as fast as possible, try to fight for the inhibitor. As Yado is out of position as well. Froggy, he got his third item, and now he's an assassin. He can just find Artemis in the midst of everything. They might not have the wave clear to be able to deal with this. It's got to be Pun to do quite a bit more. So they're going to find a bit of damage. Shogun's going to be able to siege up on this tower and make things happen. Ultimate's going to get dropped. Sion's completely out of the fight for any conceivable future. This is insane. Finally, Saigon breaks something loose. Find a pick onto Artemis with this Ahri, and they're able to break down everything.
That's inhibitor down. That's going to be just constant pressure that they have to deal with. This next dragon, it's going to be so hard for Cerberus to work around. And Artemis is just trying to greed for a red buff. Doesn't have, I'm not sure if he had his ultimate or it's a spectator buff bug, but he has it up now, so I'm not sure if it was up at the time, but it looks, if it was, he needed to just flash or ult immediately, but because
it did, especially given the fact that like Artemis, if he dodges the charm, probably just kills Froggy outright, because he nearly killed Froggy even through the charm with the feather pull coming out onto the red buff with all the feathers that were on the ground. But that was a monstrous play. The top side push now opens up dragons for the future. 2 minutes and 40 seconds. You got a minute till Baron. Lots on the map that's controlled by the side of Saigon Buffalo. BF Sword. Probably Bloodthirster on the way, or maybe Guardian Angel. I would almost prefer Bloodthirster here for Shogun. I feel like just living through fights is more important than there's been no threat on Shogun to die, and so I don't think he needs the second life. I think he needs to sustain. As Ron OP is going to get absolutely driven out of the fight. Yado trying to find a little bit of something, but both of them driven out. Now that they get a wave in mid lane, it's a ways out, but could have maybe pushed there. You have to be worried about the double siege coming up top lane, and so Artemis has to catch that. Yeah, they're getting pulled apart little by little here as the setup onto Baron is going to get put down by Saigon Buffalo.
Yado wasn't even really the focus of any of that damage, and he still went to about half health. It's just on random clips on the side, so that's just so much damage coming out of the side of Buffalo, and it's all AoE. They are in no concern. Cosmic Drive now finished for Froggy. This is this is not the highest damage build by any means, but it does mean his ability to just fish for picks. He is just playing his own version of Blitzcrank right now. He can just jump straight in. Bloodthirster, full build completed for Shogun. 8-0-1. He kind of has actually, despite that scoreline, he hasn't really actually been the big star for this game for me. He's just quietly picked up these last hits, being set up by Froggy, and
woof! Guri gets picked off, has to flash over the wall. Radiant Virtue popped with the ultimate as well, slowing down the remainder of the team. Yado ults in as well. He's going to find a gold card against Hasmed. Not going to matter in the slightest, as they aren't able to find the pick onto the jungler the way that they had absolutely wanted to. Now, into the top lane goes Froggy. He's kind of hanging out around the edge. They know where this team is at. They're going to see them clear the ward, baiting them potentially into the pit to look for a fight. No Cyclone, no ultimate from Yado. Really, all they've got is this bot lane combination of ultimates as well as Pun's dash to try to get in. Froggy's going to be here. He's going to be able to find a bit of damage on the Dragfire. I kind of want to see him pop that. Yeah, there we go. That's what I was looking for, is he's trying to pop the plant to make sure they have more than enough space. As Saigon slowly kind of hiding backwards, Shogun could try to set up some traps to prevent them, but the Baron is going to reset now. Shogun is 3k health with this Bloodthirster being stacked up completely. That's going to be a pick onto Hosmet. Potentially, the gold card is going to go down. They're not going to be able to knock him down quite yet. Now, Guardian Angel going to bring him back up. Drakthar on the side, trying to find Shogun, but that's Froggy who's going to be able to catch out Drakthar on that side. Shogun with only one person standing in front of him with Guri, but there's multiple members now on Cerberus that are super low. See if they can get around the edge. Yado now dropped down to half health. Froggy still trying to be a menace on the backline, as every member except Ron OP is down to less than half of their health, but it does not matter. Yado tries to flash, but he can't find the gold card onto Froggy. Now going to get absolutely charmed as he walks through. No gold card remaining. Saigon Buffalo super close to taking this fight. And there's going to be a nice stun onto Drakthar. He's not going to get brought down. Pun's not going to get brought down either, as no one on Cerberus has died. I don't know how this is possible. Guri might actually be the only one to go down in this, and Guri's going to die. Somehow Cerberus gets away with slaughter in this fight. Every one of them lost almost their whole health bar. Shogun's going to run after Artemis. I think Artemis is going to have to try to pull some kind of play. That's going to be Artemis getting kind of zapped. Okay, he might die to the tower. He might get an execute. Okay, he got the execute at least, but now they can walk at Dragon. It is a free soul point. It's the Cloud Soul going over to this team, but Cerberus almost just got executed and somehow got out of the guillotine.
Yeah, they managed to pull it back. They even managed to sneak away with one kill. The assist, the execute goes down, so the Dragon is still in Buffalo's favor. I mean, the health lead was always there. But the Baron is stopped at least, and Cloud Soul is definitely not the one that will is not going to end the game for Buffalo. It's they're going to win the game through everything else more than anything. But now they can turn back to the Baron. Guri is still on his way, so if they busted a bit too hard, that could backfire. But they're all right. Constantly lurking on the side, trying to hunt, trying to find these picks.
Oh, gold card there, and a pick now. Froggy actually flashed out the other side to fight Everfrost onto Yado. They're going to get Ron OP, so that's going to be one. Drakthar also has to get out of dodge. That's going to be Yado, taking a bunch of damage from just the ultimate from Shogun. Now they're going to turn back. They have to look at this Baron buff. Froggy has to be a bit more careful. He's been playing on the side. I've loved the way Froggy's been playing the Ahri, but doesn't have the health, I think, to continue this sustained. And now it might just be Cerberus having to sack this Baron because there's no way for them to contest it. They had no Artemis. He was only just now approaching. And because Ron OP wasn't there, it was basically a 3v5 with no resources available, as Cerberus loses the Baron to Saigon Buffalo. And now the siege has to happen. Like you got to do something with it eventually. Like, this game is just taking forever.
Yeah, you just have to walk up and hit the turrets. You have Caitlyn. Yes. This shouldn't be that hard. Just put the Sejuani in front of her. It really shouldn't be that hard. I mean,
hit the turret's forehead.
Come on, just you're
hit the turret's forehead.
You're an AD carry of one job. Hit the turret.
Hit the turret forehead.
Just
the other thing is, actually, it's been a solid game of side laning from Froggy, who's constantly pressured this top side, and now with the Baron buff, might be able to deliver a killing blow to the turret and the inhibitor on the top side, which would be a pretty nasty little combination move if they're able to make that happen. At least buy space for the bottom side. As you can see, Hosmet on bottom lane, shoving that one in. Could buy some space down there as well.
Yeah, you probably don't want to play the full 1-3-1 because
maybe not.
The pick potential of what Cerberus does still have.
Huge.
But if you just send Froggy onto the side lane with those Mertreads, which absolutely got intense, massive value in that last fight, he can just sort of go into a side lane. He can be safe even if Cerberus tries to overload on that side. Drakthar is very deep right now, looking to try and get out of dodge. Felt like Hosmet here. It felt like he knew.
Just a little bit.
But now they've cracked the mid lane in they're gonna bolster Froggy. They're gonna break down this one. We need to see them actually crack the base. It's getting up to 40 minutes, and with how dominant it's kind of felt like for SGB this entire game, this is really slow to close out. And it's not like Cerberus haven't made good plays to try and to slow them down, but hit the turret. The turret point. You even built a rapid fire cannon so you can hit turret while also staying far away like a little coward.
I have to say, I think playing this respectfully for the gold card and for the blitz hook makes a lot of sense. Everfrost, and that's Yado, who's gonna go down. Pun now is only one on the front line who's gonna be able to soak any damage, but he's down to half health. That's the turret broken. You wanted them to hit tower, they hit tower as soon as Yado falls. Off the back of another Froggy pick. I gotta be honest, I wasn't sure how this game was gonna play out since they didn't have a bunch of forcing moves outside of Guri. I thought Guri was gonna be the hero. It has been Froggy on the back side of this game, finding charms and Everfrosted picks that have given the space necessary for Saigon Buffalo to work their way into this dominating position that they've got now. as you've got 2 waves collapsing from bot and from mid. You've got an inhibitor exposed. That's Gurry who's going to tank that one, who's going to get pulled underneath the tower, going to go down potentially. And Artemis and Drakthar have to put out the damage to the best of their abilities. Gurry very low. Froggy gets eviscerated right there as Pun goes back in, finds an ultimate onto Hosman, who has the Guardian Angel up, has to dodge out of the way. Artemis almost gets one shot by Shogun as Drakthar jumps in to try to put something, but Shogun's got too much damage. Look at him! Look at him put out the damage, Mobby, as he is the full carry. He's online. He picks one. Now it's Pun that's standing in front of him. The tower as well goes down as the Nexus is the only thing left. Shogun just has to kite backwards. Yado tries to get onto him. The cleanse is going to get him out of dodge to make sure he can, and he's going to auto him nearly to death. Artemis now trying to find something. They finally get him in the midst of everything as Hosman's going to be able to clean the backside of this fight. He just needs a little bit more if he's able to find a Yado. Maybe they get something. Taki's still alive on the backside. They don't have anybody that can do damage. It's just Pun and Ron LP trying to find something. The Nexus is still bare, but they're not going to walk back in. Here comes Top to try to help the stop later. Hosman gets a bunch of health back with the Gore Drinker. They're going to go for the end. Can they stop them in any capacity at all? Flash in from Pun to try to find any damage on the Hosman that he can. Q's not going to come there. That's just going to get him enough health to maybe survive. Ron LP tries to flick him in the base. It's not going to get him in. And instead, Saigon Buffalo finally got close to this game after like 2.5 minutes straight of fighting.